Hi, and welcome back to, I guess this is another Coffee with Ann, because now I have another coffee, but it's not Starbucks today, it's Dunkin'. So I'm giving a plug to them too. Not that anybody or that many people watch enough for it to be a real plug, but hey, I'm drinking it. So um, I had to take Sarah over to her new, well, shadow. She has a shadow day today at her new autism school, and we're really praying that it goes through. It sounds like it could be an absolute perfect fit for her. And so we're really excited. She was really excited, and that's huge. I mean, that's really huge for her to be excited about something, a school that she can attend. I remember when I was in kindergarten, and she's in kindergarten now, and these are really critical years. These are the years that really get the kid and get them going in the right track, and whether they love school or don't love school, or the teachers in kindergarten and all the elementary years, they're just, they can break or save a kid. I really believe that. And she's in the this time where if we don't get her now and help her behaviorally and get her to the point where she really loves school, then we're going to lose her. So I mean, this is really big. So I'm very excited for her. And when I was in kindergarten, I know that my kindergarten teacher, she saved me, and that is, she got me. She was the only one, even my own parents, who, I was adopted. So I mean, I'm not blank. I mean, it was just, you're when you're a child and you don't have anybody to compare your child to lots of times. So unlike my kindergarten teacher who had me to compare with hundreds of kids that she had had over the years, so she knew what to look for, and she knew that I was not normal, that I was really struggling. And so she went to my parents and she said, look, Anne is not where she needs to be. Something's not right. So a neuropsychologist and all kind of tests and everything, and that's when, because of my kindergarten teacher, that's when they first started realizing that I had these significant disabilities and that they needed to be addressed. So um, even though it was kind of not, it was not the best diagnoses at that time and over those years, she stuck with me, and she actually was friends with my adopted mom, and she was, they played cards together and everything. Mrs. White was her name, and she got remarried, but she ended up staying in my life and went to my graduation party when I got my master's degree. So she encouraged me all along the way. When it was Teacher Appreciation Month or something, I was a journalist and I got to write an article about her and put it in the newspaper with her picture, which she really appreciated. And to this day, even though she's no longer with us, I greatly appreciate everything that she did in my life, um, because teachers are the difference. They really do make that difference in that kid's life that has disabilities. And so um, teachers don't realize, I think, how much they have to get a kid with disabilities. You have to really understand how to reach them. And I say all the time that we have to meet them where they are, or we will lose them. And I've got one, my little Ricky, who's 7. If we don't, he's cognitively probably like 4, even though he's almost 8. And we're back teaching him kindergarten and stuff like that, because we were just teaching him beyond what he knew. And so if we can just stay just a little bit outside of where he is academically, then we won't lose him. But I know as soon as I start seeing him, because I'm homeschooling him, well, because of the pandemic, with the school district, but as soon as we start going too far outside of what he knows, boom, he's done. We've lost him, and he cries and he hates it and he doesn't want to do it. So we keep going back to just a little bit further out of where he's comfortable, and then I know that we're where he needs to be. So that's really huge. But why I wanted to get together today was about executive functioning. I mentioned it the other day in my video when I went to the BMV, and I'm going to touch a little bit on that again today. But as I share, I also want to let you know that as my channel is called Everything Spectrum, it is because autism is a spectrum. So please, no matter what I talk about as far as what's gospel in my life, doesn't mean that that's what it is for everybody that has autism. I've got 4 that live in my home that have autism, and none of us are the same. Yes, we have similar symptoms of autism that fall under the autism umbrella, but we are absolutely 100% all different. Now let's talk about what executive functioning is. Executive functioning is Executive function is a set of mental skills that include working memory, flexible thinking, and self-control. We use these skills every day to learn, work, and manage daily life. Trouble with executive function can make it hard to focus, follow directions, and handle emotions, among other things. So for me, like I said in the last video, it's getting from A to B. And I know with me, it can be this maze in my head. What I do is I get like this map in my head and I figure out what I'm going to do to get to B or Z or whatever the outcome is. And I start here and I make the map in my head and I can visually see the pictures to get me to the end. Now there's several things that happen throughout the day that can take you on a different path. And it can change your complete ability to be able to complete the task because there was a change in what somebody said. There was a change in an expectation. There was a change in a step. And all of a sudden, your entire script that you had in your head and the way it was supposed to go to help you complete that task has now changed. So now the abilities start going, the voice starts going, and it can really completely throw you off. I know for me, when I went to the BMV, one of the reasons why I got so thrown off, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, you can go to my last video that was on autism and making it. But I touch on why it was so difficult for me to complete that task. And okay, so I get that I have some issues that I need to work on. It was really clear to me when I had to go in there 3 times to get my driver's license completed that this was going to be an obstacle for me. Okay, so when I go in and they hand me the form and they told me to fill this out. So I fill it out and I give it to her and she says to me, "Oh, well, you put 5'5", and it was, this is your height and this is your weight." And I just went, yeah, and I said this, I really should probably learn to read everything before I do it. And then, the day that goes, I have to leave, I have to come back, I have to, I didn't have everything, and then I come back again, and then I'm actually to the point where I'm checking out, and I have my 4th person now, I think, and I'm every time that she says click the red, and I clicked the green, and she's like, "Oh, we have to start it over," and I'm like, yes. If I just learned to listen before I did, then, so that's the kind of thing that I do. But it's because, and I'll tell you why I got thrown off and why my ability started going away. It's because I went there not to get my driver's license renewed. I lost my driver's license and I went to just get a new driver's license. But the lady was like, you're only 6 months away from your birthday. Let's just do it. I wanted to say, no, I'm not ready to do that right now. I really just want to renew it. I just really want to get my license. I don't want to renew it. And she said, oh, you know, you're going to save yourself $27 by doing this because you're just going to be back here in 6 more months and you're going to have to redo it. And so even though now my license is only good for 3 years instead of 4 years because I did it 6 months ahead instead of within the 90-day period, now I've done this. But because she kept talking for me and made kind of the decision for me, and I could have said, no, this is what I want to do, and I could have stuck to it, but my abilities and everything start chipping, and then all of a sudden I'm just following along, and my script has changed. The map in my head that I had to get from A to getting my driver's license so changed that all of a sudden my lines are all over the place to get to the outcome. And the outcome, I got to the outcome, but with a 50 wiggly lines for me to get where I was supposed to go. In order to get things done in my world, I've always been that kid that I was either completely inward or I was completely just a goof. And it was because we mask and we fake and we figure out ways to kind of fit in and gel with the rest of the group and look like we know what we're doing. And I would always like come in and follow along and pretend like I was just, oh, okay, I do this and I do this. And I really do. I copy everything that the other people are doing in the room. If I'm not watching, it's not going to get accomplished. So, but some of the things that I can think of off the top of my head, I can remember in high school, I was that in Spanish. I didn't understand Spanish. I could barely understand English, let alone speak Spanish, and I had to take a language. I knew C, I knew how to count, I knew Feliz Navidad, and other than that, I didn't grasp it. And I got like a D- in that class. But, I passed it and I was able to move on. But I remember, and I was not a cheater. I really was not that kid, but it was the big test. I held the paper so I could see the answers. And I kept my hand just clenched, and the teacher just kept walking back and forth and back and forth. And I'm like, instead of really being able to focus on the test, all I could focus on was she was just walking back and forth. And, but I was trying to figure out a way I could really pass this test. So she says to me, Anna, my Spanish name, open up your hand. And I opened up my hand, and she said, no, the other one. And so I opened it up, and of course it was in there. So she takes my paper and she just writes the big F on the top. So there was that. There was a time where, and this is when I get goofy, there was a time where my math teacher, he asks me, he's like, is this, and it was algebra, and he said, is this 2B or is this not 2B? And so, of course, that's just too easy. I said, to be or not to be? That's the question. Did I know the answer? No, I didn't. But it distracted. I don't even know if we ever really answered the question. What I do know is that was my way of dealing. I know one of the strategies that I picked up, and honestly, a lot of the things that I've done along the years have just developed. It isn't anything that I was taught or had to learn to teach myself. It was just something that kind of developed. And I was a scripter. I always tried to figure it out, uh, how to get along in the world. So I would just try to plan the script of how it was supposed to go. My daughter Sarah, that's one of the things that she does. She actually got an autism diagnosis out of the gate. I mean, like, first time ever, going for a diagnosis. Everybody just, they know that she has autism. She didn't even really know how to play until she's obsessed with these YouTube videos. And she watches like Ryan's Play Review and like all these other A for Adley, where these families play, and she really didn't understand how to play. And she's developing, and it's scripted, because even when she has been assessed with her play, it's things that she has seen. She'll even say at Walmart.com and things like that. I mean, she'll just act it out as what she's seen in these videos. But she's able to play now, which is really good, because all she ever wanted to do was clean the house, because that's what I do all the time. So she would just copy me, but it has allowed her to be able to copy other things. Now, I'm not saying that I think that they should watch YouTube videos all the time, but there is some good to it, because it really allows them to understand things, or at least be able to get along in the world, because they've watched it, they can mimic it, they script it, they just follow along. And she can play kitchen now. She can play with her dolls because she watches these videos, and she just does what they do. And so, I mean, that has really helped her tremendously. I think one of the reasons that we can be so rigid is because our day is planned in our head, and that is how we can operate and function and feel safe. And as soon as there's a new element added or taken away, or a change, or an extra expectation, or an extra step in something that we weren't planning, or somebody says something in a different way than we expected, then all of a sudden the whole script, the whole diagram that we have formed in our head and how it's supposed to go is no longer in play. So then we have to come up with a new one within seconds, and it's almost impossible. So, and we do it. I do it. And again, I'm only talking for myself, but I can think it in pictures, and I can try to figure it out, because I see the outcome, and I try to figure out how I can get to that outcome, but it just might have to take a different path to get there. One of the hardest things that I have a hard time with is when we have a unplanned day off, like a snow day, and all of a sudden it's like, you would think that, okay, just binge watch a show, okay, just hang out with the kids and play, okay, just read, and all of a sudden all I can do is pace. I don't know what to do. I can't figure out what to do. There's all these options. I'm just like, oh, should I do this? Should I do this? Oh, I can't figure out what I'm supposed to do. So I just find myself pacing back and forth until I decide, normally, this is what gets me out of it. I just start cleaning and organizing, and I pick a room or a closet or a drawer, and I just start undoing and redoing the whole entire thing. And it really does help me to get out of that stuck feeling of not having a clue what to do. And then normally I can kind of figure out a new plan for the day. And it might just be watching the kids play and hanging out with them, or watching a movie. And decision making really isn't the best thing for me, and I know other people on the spectrum, and to put a bunch of choices out there and say, okay, choose, isn't going to happen. The more choices, the less I'm going to choose and probably shut down and not decide at all. Even when it comes to meals, I do my normal routine. This is what I'm going to eat. Or if you say this or this, and then I finally get the decision made, and then you throw in another choice, it's done. I'm done. It's not happening. I'm not choosing. So it can be, decision making can add to the executive functioning piece for me. The whole point is, I might not know how to handle my situation at the B&B, but I got it done. I oftentimes don't know what I'm doing in any given situation. And even if it doesn't go as planned, it gets done. There might be a lot of detours along the way, but I have learned to be okay with myself, and that's just how it's going to play out. And expect things to take longer, expect myself to not understand. And again, back to last video, self-advocating, asking for help, which I often don't do in new situations, especially like at the BMV when they were telling me what they thought I should do, and I just went along with it. I did. But the point is, I do. I don't stay at home and quit and give up. I just keep doing. It's not even an option to do that. And there might be a lot of detours along the way, but I keep going and I keep moving forward. Like I always say to you at the end of the videos, keep being you and keep moving forward. It's because that's what I've always done. One step at a time. I have moved forward and I just kept going. So as my kids always say, again, ready? Do it.
1, 2, 3, smash that like button.
And please share, smash that like button again, like it. And for people that are liking it on Facebook, which a lot of people are, and making comments on Facebook, that's wonderful, but please do it on my channel. Please do it under the video and start the conversations rolling. That would really be amazing. And just share the love, spread it, and contact me. Open up some dialogue with me. That would be great. And thank you so much for being a part of this channel. It means so much. And as I always say, keep being you and keep moving forward.